There are nights when he lies awake, heart racing, not from fear, but from remembering you. He doesn't know how to name what shifted the moment you entered his life. All he knows is that his world hasn't felt the same since. The angels say, she didn't walk into his life. She was placed, like a whisper from heaven, into the middle of his silence. He thought he had it all under control. The career, the responsibilities, the layers he wrapped around himself like armor. But then came your presence, gentle yet undeniable, and every part of him that had been numbed by routine began to feel again. What you stirred in him wasn't just emotion. It was recognition. The soul remembers what the mind can't explain. And his remembered you. Your light, the way you enter a room and shift the atmosphere. The way your silence speaks. The way your eyes hold storms and tranquility at once. None of it goes unnoticed. You didn't need to try. You just were. And that changed everything. Now he finds himself reflecting on the choices he's made, the path he's taken, the masks he's worn. Because your essence makes him want to be seen, not just admired. Loved, not just needed. He's beginning to understand, you weren't an accident. You were a divine interruption. A pause in his chaos. A call to return to something sacred. The angels whisper, she carries keys. Not to open his doors, but to remind him they exist. And so he begins. To question. To soften. To awaken. Because when heaven sends a soul like yours, the heart cannot remain asleep. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1 verse 5. He doesn't run from you because you did something wrong. He runs because you see too much. The angels say, she mirrors his shadows. And that's what frightens him. For years, he mastered the art of containment. He kept his feelings neatly folded, like letters never sent. But your presence unraveled him. The things he tried so hard to suppress began to breathe again. You didn't ask for this. You simply loved, with a clarity that left no place to hide. And that dear soul touched the wounded child inside him. He carries wounds stitched in silence. Losses that were never mourned. Expectations that buried his softness. And every time you showed up, real, whole, unafraid, you tugged at those stitches. It's not rejection. It's resistance. The kind that comes from being loved too well. You awakened tenderness in him that he was told to outgrow. Emotions he learned to edit in the name of being strong. But now, his heart aches not from your absence, but from the possibility that love might actually be this real. For someone who's only known performance, real love feels like standing naked under stormlight. The angels show me he's torn between the familiar pain of solitude and the terrifying hope of surrender. He wants to come closer. But to do so, he must touch what hurts. He must name what he never dared to say out loud. And that is the battle. Do not carry his fear as if it were your own flaw. You did not break him. You only revealed what was never healed. Your love didn't cause the fracture, it illuminated it. And now the soul must decide, will he run from the light, or allow it to enter? He is learning. Slowly. Painfully. But learning. And you, dear soul, are the reason. He pulls away, then retreats. Each time he does, a part of you wonders, what more could I have done? But the angels whisper, you were never meant to dim so he could shine. This is not a story of sacrifice. This is a story of remembrance. Of you remembering yourself in the midst of someone else's unraveling. There is beauty in being the lighthouse. But even lighthouses need rest. You have drawn from wells that were never fully replenished. Smiled through the pain. Stayed soft when the world asked you to toughen up. Now is the time to turn that same devotion inward. He may be healing, but so are you. And your healing does not depend on his pace. Yes, you can feel him. His yearning. His distance. His inner struggles. But you are not the salve for his wounds. You are the soul of your own journey. Let him wrestle with his transformation. You? Focus on the woman who has made space for two hearts for far too long. Make tea for your own softness. Write love letters to your own resilience. Touch your skin like you actually matter. Because you do. The angels say, her love is sacred. But it is not for depleting. It is for giving, not for erasing. When you choose yourself, you do not abandon him. You show him how love stands, not waits. You are not sent here to be an emotional caregiver. You are a mirror of divine light. And when you shine, it teaches him what wholeness looks like. So breathe. Walk barefoot. Cry if you need to. And remember, you are not just someone who waits for love to come. You are love. And it is time you feel it again, starting with you. He looks at you, and something inside him trembles. Not because you hurt him, but because you truly see him. The angels whisper, she reflects what he avoids. You didn't try to fix him. You simply stood there, radiant in truth, and that was enough to shatter the illusions he wore like armor. You are the mirror he never asked for but desperately needed. He sees your depth and it forces him to confront his own shallowness. He hears your honesty and remembers how long he has lived behind edited truths. It is not your fault that your clarity challenges him. It is your gift. He was content in his carefully curated life, until your soul walked him like wildfire, whispering, there is more than just surviving, there is wholeness. Now he can't unsee it. You show him the gap between who he is and who he longs to be. And while that awakening is sacred, it is also terrifying. This is why he pulls back. Not out of disinterest, but out of feeling overwhelmed. The angels say, you didn't come into his life to make him comfortable. You came to remind him who he is beneath the fear. He may resent the mirror at first, curse the reflection. But over time, he will see what you see, a man on the brink of remembering. Your light was never meant to be subtle. It was meant to reveal. Even if what it reveals is raw, unfinished, or painful. Let him wrestle. Because every time he looks at you, he encounters a piece of himself he thought was lost. And one day, he will thank you. Not for staying through his confusion, but for never hiding your light, even when it exposed his darkness. It started small. A glance that lingered. A message left unsent. A silence that felt heavier than words. But the angels lean close now and whisper, what you ignited in him is beginning to awaken. He doesn't understand it yet. This stirring. This ache that grows louder in your absence. He tries to rationalize it, blames the timing, the chaos, the uncertainty. But no logic can quiet the soul when it begins to rise. And it is rising. He catches himself thinking about you at red lights, in waiting rooms, between moments. Your name echoes in those in-between times. The angels say, his soul knows before his mind admits. And right now, the soul is remembering. He is noticing how the world feels duller without your presence. How no one makes him laugh in that wild, unfiltered way. How your silence speaks more than others' praise. This is the beginning. Of recognition. Of change. Of surrender. The kind that doesn't come all at once, but builds, like a tide returning. He is awakening not just to you, but to himself. To a version of himself that only exists near your light. And while he may stumble, doubt, retreat, the seed is already planted. The soil is stirring. And with each breath, he inches closer to blooming. Let him. You don't need to rush the process. The sacred doesn't need to be hurried. The divine unfolds in whispers, not demands. Just know, your energy was never wasted. Your love was never too much. Your presence was always the catalyst. And now the earth beneath him is shifting. Because of you. He comes close, then disappears. Smiles, then falls silent. And you wonder, what game is this? But the angels say, it is not a game. It is a war between his old self and the man he could become with you. He's not being cruel. He's being cracked open. Each return to you is a moment of clarity. Each departure is fear crying out louder than faith. He doesn't understand why he keeps coming back. But you do. Because you feel the pull too. There is something ancient in this dance. Something sacred in the pattern. He leaves to escape the fire. But every time he realizes, he misses the warmth more than he fears the burn. The angels whisper, this cycle is not punishment. It's preparation. He is testing the limits of what love might require, of what surrender might demand. He knows you see him, truly see him, and that terrifies the version of himself that only knew love as a performance. You, dear soul, ask for presence, not perfection. And he is not accustomed to being wanted without having to earn it. That's why he runs. Because deep down, he's never felt worthy of a love like yours. And still, he returns. Not because he's confused, but because his soul is restless when it's far from you. Let the cycle unfold. You are not lost in his pattern. You are the rhythm calling him home. But don't lose your center trying to hold his. He must learn to walk steadily into his own healing. You can't drag him there. You can only be the compass. And when he is ready to end the cycle and walk the path of love with you, he will. Until then, know this. His silence speaks of turmoil, not disinterest. And his return is not a sign of weakness. It's a feeling of longing, shaped like a second chance. He doesn't say it out loud. But when he's near you, his chest feels lighter. The angels whisper, she is not just someone he loves. She is the place where his soul finds peace. You didn't heal him with grand gestures. You did it by simply being there. In your presence, his thoughts slow down. The chaos quiets. His fear loosens its grip. And in that stillness, something inside him begins to believe, maybe love doesn't have to hurt. He has experienced affection with conditions. Praise that turned to silence. Promises that cracked under pressure. But with you, there was no test to pass. Just a hand extended. A look that said, you can come as you are. And that changed everything. The angels say, love when real is a bomb. It doesn't ask for sacrifice. It asks for truth. That's what you gave him, truth wrapped in tenderness. Even when he doubted himself, even when he doubted you, the memory of your presence lingered like a prayer. You were not the storm. You were the calm eye within it. He may have tried to escape from the intensity. But what he feared wasn't you, it was what you made him feel. Hope. Softness. Possibility. And even now, as he struggles with his old armor, he carries your love like a sacred thread stitched across his heart. Your energy was never demanding. It was healing. You did not heal him with force. You reminded him that healing was within reach. And even in your silence, your love continues its work, softening the places inside him where light had never reached. He doesn't fully understand what you've done, but he knows he is better when he remembers you. There is no map for this. No clear path. Only the heartbeat of something sacred pulling you forward. The angels say, this is not your doing, it is divine orchestration. Every twist, every delay, every moment that left you breathless was never random. It was alignment. He doesn't know it yet, but his steps have been guided too. Even in the detours. Even in the silence. There were moments when you thought it was over. Moments when you almost let go. But something, soft and persistent, kept you holding on. Not to him, but to a knowing. A whisper that said, wait. Watch. Trust. This isn't about whether he's ready. It's about whether you can remain open while he becomes. The angels are moving mountains behind the veil. Shifting timelines. Softening hearts. Rearranging stars. And your job is not to fix or chase. It's to trust. To remember that what is sacred cannot be missed, only revealed in time. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3 verse 5. He may seem distant, but his soul is in conversation with the divine. And yours has already heard the answer. So don't force the bloom. Let it rise on its own. Water it with grace. Tend to it with faith. Because what's meant for you is not drifting away out of confusion. It's circling closer, drawn by a love older than this lifetime. A love that God Himself planted. And when it blossoms, you will recognize the scent. It will smell like home. There's a moment, right before He speaks, when His breath catches. You've seen it, felt it. That pause full of all the things He hasn't said. The angels say, He is not silent out of apathy. He is quiet because He fears the sound of His own truth. He wasn't taught how to soften safely. He learned to guard, to grin, to go. Vulnerability was a language He never got to speak. But you broke the dam. Not with questions, but with presence. Not with pressure, but with peace. And now, His heart is flooded with a desire He can't suppress, but also can't explain. He's afraid, not of you, but of what you represent. To love you would mean to be seen. To be seen would mean to be known. And to be known? That is where the old fears rise. What if He's not enough? What if He shows you everything, and you decide to leave? The angels whisper, she does not want perfection. She wants your permission to stay even when the armor falls. You inspire Him to take risks, to voice the words that lie in His chest like thunder. But on some nights, His past screams louder. And on those nights, He withdraws. Not because He wants to lose you, but because He's terrified that He already has. He wonders if it's too late, if He has waited too long, if you've already moved on. He silently prays for a sign. That may be, you're still there. So when He returns, not with answers but trembling, know this, it took everything in Him to come. And what He needs now is not an explanation, but grace. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34 verse 18. Some things are not meant to be solved. They are meant to be surrendered. The angels whisper, what you release in trust returns in truth. You've held His soul with open hands, even when they trembled. You've loved without a script, waited without promises. Now comes the moment not of conclusion, but of choosing peace. Let Him be where He is, as He is. Because the truth is, you were never here to change Him. You were here to remember yourself through Him. He came to awaken parts of you that were long buried, to show you how deep your love could go, how strong your faith could hold. And you lit the path. Not for Him, but for both of you. You may not know how this ends, but you know what's real. The laughter that lightened the weight of time. The silences that spoke louder than confessions. The feeling that even distance could not diminish. This love was not a mistake. It was a mirror. And mirrors don't lie. The angels say, your soul recognizes the journey is complete, not when He chooses you, but when you choose peace over waiting. Maybe He'll come back. Maybe He won't. But the gift remains. You loved deeply, without losing yourself. And that is everything. Now you walk forward, not with answers, but with reverence. For the woman you've become. For the love you gave. For the divine timing that brought you here. Let what's yours return freely. Let what's not bless you in its departure. And hold this final whisper close. The right love doesn't ask you to become smaller. It finds you exactly as you are. And stays. Amen.